Story this hour, 5 guilty verdicts, 5 life sentences. A British Al-Qaeda cell have all been given jailed for a minimum of 35 years or more for plotting a bombing campaign against the UK. The judge called the ringleader, Omar Khayyam, ruthless, devious and dangerous. Sir Michael Astill said all the men were determined to cause indiscriminate death and suffering. He told them, "You've betrayed the country which has given you every opportunity."
The gang had planned to make a bomb using ammonium fertiliser and exploded in a busy shopping centre or nightclub. 2 of the gang, arrested in 2004, had a series of meetings with the ringleaders of the July 7th suicide attacks. Survivors say the case for a full inquiry into why that didn't result in the arrest of the 7-7 gang is now overwhelming.
Well, we'll get the very latest from the Old Bailey and MI5 HQ in a moment. First, though, let's take a look at the jury's verdicts this lunchtime. And 25-year-old Omar Khayyam from Crawley in West Sussex, he was the ringleader, was found guilty of conspiring to cause explosions, guilty of possessing ammonium nitrate fertiliser for terrorism and guilty of possessing aluminium powder for terrorism. He was sentenced to life in prison and will serve a minimum of 40 years. His brother, 20-year-old Shuja Mahmood, also from Crawley, was found not guilty of conspiring to cause explosions. He was also found not guilty of possessing aluminium powder for terrorism. 35-year-old Wahid Mahmood from Crawley was found guilty also of conspiracy to cause explosions. He was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 40 years. Jawad Akbar, who's 23 and from Crawley, was found guilty of conspiring to cause explosions. He too given life to serve at least 35 years. 25-year-old Anthony Garcia from Barkingside in East London, he too was found guilty of conspiracy to cause explosions and also guilty of ammonium nitrate fertiliser possession for terrorism. He was sentenced to life with a minimum of 40 years. And 32-year-old Salahuddin Amin from Luton was found guilty of conspiracy to cause explosions. He was also sentenced to life, a minimum of 35 years to be served. And 21-year-old Nabil Hussain from Hawley in Surrey was found not guilty of conspiracy to cause explosions and not guilty of ammonium nitrate fertiliser possession for the purposes of terrorism. Let's cross live to the Old Bailey now, and Sky's Rachel Younger. Rachel.
Yes, well, you heard the words of Sir Michael Astill QC, the judge in this case. He described the gang as cruel and ruthless people, men who he said had betrayed the very country that had given them everything. He spoke too of it not just being the 5 men in the dock who were to blame. He spoke of a spiral of contamination, of preachers of hate lurking in corners as he handed down these life terms. Now, the 5 defendants in this case were given minimum terms ranging from 17.5 to 40 years. But the judge made it very clear that these are life sentences, and he said it is not a foregone conclusion that some or all of you may never be released. That's what he had to say. Only Jawad Akbar of the 5 defendants found guilty to be seen in the dock. He simply closed his eyes as that life sentence was read out by the judge.